Hello, everyone. I am Henry Pacific Mbenza Mayala, Mandela Washington Fellow from 2017 cohorts, Public Management at the Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland. Currently, I'm pursuing my master's in social sciences, specializing in global politics at the Birkbeck University in London. Well, with Install, I use GIS tools as an approach to address issues of safety within the Eastern DRC region, to provide the humanitarian community with other pre-evaluation information security so as to improve their informed decision-making process. Within the DRC, the Eastern DRC especially, we have militia group. Most of the time they clashing between themselves or within regular armed forces. We do collect these informations, but this is a lot of information for somebody to process at a glance or having time to dedicate for information, process and time for program, actual humanitarian aid program implementation. So what we do is I collect, I analyze, and I do visualize. That is the part which most of the people are exposed to. It's like the iceberg approach. The top of the iceberg is the end product, which most of the time are maps, tools, charts or other related information tools. But most of the time, or maps indicating which areas are quite more accessible, which other areas are not accessible, which areas have been under serious security threats, and which type of security of threats, either being rape, killings, armed attacks, or other sort of attacks on the humanitarian workers. And all of this information, GIS tools assist you to bring it within an eye glance to allow people understand and capture the whole information before they decide whether to go or not. Still in the humanitarian field, I would refer to my recent experience with UNICEF in the Ebola response, or still in the Eastern DRC. I wasn't directly involved with the information management and GIS units. I was working as a social scientist, and I can relate to the role, the central role the information management and GIS units play within a complex situation like emergency, rapid, and emergency response for something like Ebola. I would provide, my role was to provide the behavioral understanding of local communities within their interactions with the response teams. Well, this is a multidisciplinary team which is deployed. And on one side, we have managers at the coordination level. And on field level, we have technicians from a whole range of expertise. And most of the time, the manager will not always time to interact with the people on the field, especially if this goes to, let's say, moving from unit of people dealing with safe burial to unit of people doing community engagement and risk communication. There is such a very large discrepancy in between the two. The two might not have the same need, and the two might not have the proper direct communication channels to the management teams. So the GIS unit and information management would play a hinge role in that the whole of information coming from all of these departments deployed on the field are centralized at the level of GIS and information management team. And the units will integrate all of this information within a single end product, most of the time an interactive map, which is then provided with the managers, and this substantially ease their work in making decisions. They would have, at a glance, an understanding of what is happening within this area, from the disease spread to the need assessment per team. So instead of having either a top-bottom or bottom-top communication from the manager with each single team, once the GIS unit have collected all of the information, moving from people within care, delivery, risk engagement and communication, infection control and prevention, WASH included, vaccination, psychosocial and counselors. I mean, there are almost 9 departments, main department of technicians deployed on the field. And the GIS unit collect all of this data and information to transform it in information presentable and understandable at a glance by the manager. This is then presented at the coordination level, and the coordination level doesn't need to go within area per area to follow up. The single end product, which can be charts, an interactive map, will make them easily understand what is the evolution of the disease on one side, and what are the needs and how to prioritize. So here I came to realize how substantial and effective GIS contributed into the effort to manage the follow-up of the epidemic. It is not only public health, it's about businesses. Getting to know that I'm arriving to Nairobi, I would go on Google Map and identify all of the restaurants owned by MWF alumni. That is where GIS comes in. So it's a cross-sectoral and multidisciplinary tool, which is easing decision makers' life, but also benefiting business owners.